Hi, my name is Kim Holen, and I am the president of Gemini Agency. Today, in Inside the Funnel, we are bringing in the big dog, Stephanie Tollefson, who is the owner and CEO of Gemini. So welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you.
You may not know this, but we go way, way back.
Yes, we do.
Almost 25 years.
26, I think.
26 years,
Yeah.
so a long time. For any of you who are still children, or maybe not even born, what that means is that Stephanie and I were around when there was no internet. There was no digital marketing. We placed yellow page ads. So maybe some people know what that is, maybe some people don't. But essentially what it is one of the first search engines that was made out of paper.
Correct.
And we placed ads in there.
Yes, we did.
A simpler time.
I call it the good old days.
The good old days. So now with things changing, you started at this company when it was grew an agency.
I did.
The job of you and me was to change it into a digital marketing agency.
Yes.
Which we did very successfully.
Yep.
You've been with this company now for 17 years?
Correct.
Took ownership over 6 years ago.
Yep.
In that time, talk to me about the transformation in marketing.
Boy, that's a loaded question.
I'm sorry, we started off strong.
Yeah, we did. Obviously, I think everybody out here who's watching this knows that digital marketing has just ballooned, right? Some people were a little bit more ahead of the times and started out right away. Others have been a little slow to adapt and adopt some of these things. I think what's happening now is that there are just more places to be. Our attention is getting split between even more places. And so it's really trying to find out, depending on what your goals are as a business, where do we get in front of these new people to make them aware of your business? So when it's time for them to need your service, you're top of mind, right? So I think what's happened is there's just more and more and more. My comment about the yellow pages in the good old days is that we had TV, we had radio, we had the yellow pages, we had newspapers and magazines. That was it. Now, instead of 6 places, you could be in 30. And so it is very complicated. There's only so much amount of budget. So you have to be extremely strategic on where you're going to place that money to get the best outcome for your business. So
even search on Google has changed. Before it was
unbelievable.
Organic listings and paid.
Yeah.
And they found a way to even complicate that.
Well, they did. I think Google, obviously, they're trying to make money, just like really any business. But what Google's done, and we're a Google Premier Partner, and we have our monthly calls with them. They are pushing what they want to push on us because they want us to push that on our customers, right? I've been in these calls for 19 years. We're always pushing back because they don't have our customers' best interest at heart, right? All they want is to make more money. So we are absolutely testing every single thing that Google rolls out to make sure that it actually is effective. Some things are, some things aren't. But what we found, the magic is that many of the things that they're doing and the changes that they're making, it's a in-between, right? We have to tweak what they've asked us to do to really make sure that we're getting the most for our customers. So we do a lot of beta testing, again, really making sure that the things that are changing within Google are beneficial for our customers. And it's all the time. They're constantly changing stuff, right? It's changing even faster and faster. And of course now, probably going to ask me this, but we're entering the age really, right, of AI and automation and where all of that's going. And there's a lot of hype out there. People are saying that AI can do a lot of things that it really can't yet, but it will. And I think we as a company trying to do it in the safest way that actually is going to be sustainable. You know what I mean? Not just these knee-jerk reactions on how to do it, but really vetting and trying things out and seeing if it's going to be beneficial for the long haul. So I'm sure you're going to ask me more questions about this.
I don't know, because as you're talking, things are coming to me.
Okay.
You've always said one of our number one jobs is to be good stewards of our clients' budgets.
Yes.
And of their business.
Yes.
Because they are looking at us sometimes very desperately. Help get me leads.
Yeah.
And nothing could be more so true in the vertical of home services.
Absolutely.
Which is where I'm going.
Okay.
Home services, that has been our bread and butter for over 30 some years.
It has.
We love these guys.
Yeah.
We love their businesses. We love their families because their businesses are essentially families. Talk to me a little bit about why this vertical is so important to you and what's the message to the internal teams when we take on a new customer in that space.
They're salt of the earth people. I think what they do for our communities, every single one of our homes needs the services that they have. And quite honestly, some of them are better than others, especially the ones that are they're family owned and operated. You said it exactly yourself. And that's how I look at our business too. And if we can help these businesses flourish, it's going to help their employees. It's going to help the communities in which they live. And that's how I look at with our employees too.
It's been part of our mission statement.
It has.
That
Yep.
is not just about getting a lead or getting a click or getting a call, that we see our responsibility to these businesses as we are helping communities.
Yep.
Earlier this year, we were able to secure a spot with Nexstar as a strategic partner.
Yeah, they're right in our backyard.
Yeah, right in our backyard. It was an honor. It's
Yeah.
a privilege to get kind of that opportunity.
Yeah.
Because digital marketing agencies can be a dime a dozen.
They are a dime a dozen.
They are a dime a dozen. So how do you position Gemini to be the agency that stands above and beyond these other agencies that are trying to secure either that spot or just get in front of another home service business?
You know, the bottom line is we actually give a shit. Am I allowed to swear on this?
Of course.
Fantastic. You know, there are a lot of other marketing agencies out there. There are solopreneurs that are doing marketing. Marketing is a very broad term. Obviously, we're really focusing on performance marketing, right? So a lot of the things that you can do online. It's important for us to really understand that business and be able to create with that business a true partnership. Quite honestly, some of the things that we do can be very transactional, right? It's tactical. We do the things, we get them the leads, but truly in order for us to really make a difference, it's vital for us to actually have a partnership. We've learned this over the years being in business as long as we had, right? You have some good partners and you have some not so good partners. You have the ones that keep you at arm's length and you have the ones that let you in. The ones that let you in are the game changers. And so I've really learned after being in this business for that long that I'm not afraid to put that out there anymore. If you want a true partner, somebody who's going to care about your business as much as you do, then you want to come talk to us. A lot of the companies out there, they're hoping they get you in for a year or two. They have you on a package. You're in a system. We have systems in place, of course, to help us make sure we're doing things properly and efficiently and all that stuff. But every company is an individual company.
There are, and we've heard it, and we'll talk about this in a minute, agencies that want to secure as many small or large businesses as they can without thinking if they should. And I think that's something that we stop and pause and go, should we take on this business? Do we have the staff to do it responsibly, being good stewards of their money and their business? Talk to me a little bit about that business model that you are strict on.
Yeah, I just think it's important to make sure that you have that right alliance from the beginning. I am all about relationships. You can ask anybody that works for me that has come through our doors. That's just who I am, and that's what I want for this business. Because really, if you look at historically the longevity of the customers that we've had, if you look at the industry average, I think it's 2 to 3 years. On average, we're anywhere from 7 to 10. If that doesn't speak volumes about how we build that rapport with our customers, that relationship where we're learning from them, they're learning from us, that to me is where the magic happens. And especially now where things are just changing so quickly, we have to be able to have these conversations with our partners to be like, how are we going to pivot? More than ever, especially with all this AI and automation and our cell phones and our technology, we're losing the human touch. And I love the human touch. It is what I am all about. So I think it's very important. And I want to make sure that we absolutely never lose that touch at Gemini.
So our team just got back from Super Meeting in Colorado. That's Nexstar's annual event. I thought Nexstar just did a fantastic job.
I agree.
Rolling out that week-long event.
Yeah.
As a newbie,
yes,
first time there, what were your observations about the event, about just the conversations you've had?
I think people seemed very energized and excited to learn. I think in an environment like that, and like you said, Nexstar did a phenomenal job creating that environment to let people actually be vulnerable and want to learn and talk with others. I, again, being new to this, right? I didn't really know what to expect. I think the energy was fantastic. We had some really fantastic conversations with some businesses that are really trying to figure out, how do we get to the next level? And I think for some of them, they may currently be with an agency right now that maybe is doing an okay job, but they're thinking to themselves, is this the agency, is this the company that can help take us to that next level? And I think so some of the conversations we were having were coming out of that. It's like they're here with an agency and they want to level up. And so those were kind of fun conversations to have. I think being on the trade show, floor, seeing all the other different partners that Nexstar has was really beneficial. For us, sometimes we just get stuck thinking about marketing, right? And then the sales that coincide with those marketing efforts. And it just really got me thinking about really what it takes to run these businesses, HVAC, plumbing, electric, right? There's so many different facets. It's not just what we do with the marketing, right? Mm-hmm. And so seeing all these other vendors there that are helping these businesses also grow, had some great conversations with the vendors, and it was really kind of fun for me to just learn about all of these things.
I found that it takes so much to create this ecosystem to grow this business. Again, you said the word vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think that was huge, because to be able to say, I don't know, I'm not sure, help.
Yeah.
Please help me.
Yeah.
That's how you grow.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of that.
Yeah.
We went to a couple great breakout sessions, kind of peeked in the back, what things were happening. What was one in particular that made you go, who knew?
We deal in ServiceTitan, obviously, with the trades, and that is the biggest one right now. There are others as well, but there were just some insights that some of these breakout sessions brought about some of the opportunities that are within ServiceTitan, right? And all of these businesses have these opportunities, and it's trying to figure out a process, working that kind of stuff. It takes a lot to get a new customer, right? It takes a lot to get in the door. Once you're in the door, sometimes you get that sale, sometimes you don't. Well, it's trying to figure out the ones that you didn't, what can you learn from that? Is there opportunity to go back at them? And I think that is a really important thing for businesses to think about. I think that was one of the sessions for me that really kind of hit home, is there's so much valuable data within ServiceTitan in particular, if that's what you have or whatever platform you're using, and learning how to leverage that more, I think is a huge opportunity. And so that session, I think, really kind of was eye-opening for me, because again, I haven't really been privy, or I haven't been open to that lens. It really got my wheels turning.
There was an offer that we were promoting during the trade show, and it's called Agency Test Drive.
Yep.
Unpack that a little bit for people who might be interested in and why we did it and what we hope to come of it.
Yeah. So I think what we've heard over the years when we bring on a new customer, or even when we're in the discovery phase and talking with a prospect, is many people feel very overwhelmed about, I'm already with an agency and I don't have my passwords and I don't know if I have ownership or if I don't. And it feels like a really big undertaking, which I'm not saying that it isn't, right? There's a lot of pieces, but I think we've been able to help prospects or businesses understand, here are the things that you want to make sure that you own and you have access to, especially when it comes to your digital platforms. What we created with this agency test drive is, because it feels like such a big undertaking, we wanted people to know that we want to give them an opportunity to come test us out, before they have to really commit. Now, we've never done long-term contracts and things like that. We are very much performance-based. So if you don't feel like we're doing a great job for you and the right job, then yeah, maybe you should look elsewhere. But we thought this 90-day trial, so to speak, was just a great way for businesses to come in and get a feel for how different Gemini is compared to some of our competition, and that they get to feel that connection that we make, that eagerness to learn about their business. And quite honestly, a lot of these businesses, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. I'm not smoke and mirrors. We're going to say it like it is. And that's what I've trained our employees. It's to be very direct, very transparent. And we do that in every interaction. And so we want other businesses that are out there thinking, my agency's okay, but is there something better and different out there? I want them to give us a try. And that's where the test drive came from. And it's 90 days. And we believe that we're going to be able to show increased leads, increased business. And we're going to do it in a way where you feel heard, where you feel like the people on the other end are being innovative, informative, and everything in between. So I think it's a great opportunity for people to get to learn about us and do it in a way that doesn't feel like it has so much pressure.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing that makes us different too is that there are businesses who say, I don't know if my marketing is working.
Yeah.
What a shame. Are you kidding me? The amount of money and how much is dependent upon that. You don't know.
Well, it's mind-boggling, is what that is. In our entire history, all we've ever done, even back in the Yellow Pages when we were tracking a phone number, right? And we could say exactly how many people called your business. We've been doing that for 33 years and we're still doing it. Tracking now is even better than it ever was. Again, you can go overboard with tracking. You can be tracking the wrong things, but it's imperative that you know what's working and what's not. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I've also heard that customers or home service businesses are saying that in their meetings, the agencies are coming to them saying, we did great. You have so much activity, so many leads, so many calls, and yet they're befuddled because business is down.
Sure. I think that's where that partnership comes into play. We, depending on the customer, right, we have different kinds of accesses, right? If we're seeing on our end that our lead volume is up and we're bringing you leads and we're bringing you that information, and we say, from what we see on our end, things look good. What are you seeing on your end? If that customer isn't willing to share that information with us, that's where you have that disconnect. With most of our customers, when you have that true partnership, we have insights into what those leads are doing for that business, how they turned it into a sale, right?
That complete arc.
That complete arc. And that's where the magic happens. And it's taking it a step further. Our job, yes, is to bring leads, whether that's via a call or a form or however that customer wants to get that lead. And we can bring that lead to them, but sometimes we find that when that lead gets to that business, maybe something's going on there that isn't quite right. We are giving insights into what we are seeing if we're listening to phone calls, right? Maybe there's something happening with the person picking up the phone.
And we have uncovered that.
Yes, we have.
Because we talk about that full arc. It's not just watching for that lead. It's watching for when that lead hits their call center. And we've actually waved the flag.
Yes, we have.
Operationally, you've got some problems there.
Yeah.
The phone goes unanswered.
Yeah.
Or when it gets answered, it is meh. It's not giving that customer faith in that business.
Yeah.
And to get that information and share it with our contacts, it's a game changer.
It is. In a sense, we're stepping out of our lane a little bit, right? But again, we're able to do that because we have that relationship with that customer. And it's important because it's in our best interest for that company to do well too.
Yeah, it's our work.
And I think that's what people need to really think about is like, do you really feel like the business, the agency that you're working with really, really cares about your business? It can't and shouldn't be just one-sided either. Yes, your agency should be innovating and bringing ideas to you, but it also should be that business bringing things too. So it's truly when you bring these two things together, that's where everything is really, really good, So we did hear that. There's a lot of business. They're just going through the motions, right? They're sending the report. They're maybe having a little half-hour call. They don't really feel like they're being heard. I had 17 conversations like that 2 weeks ago in Denver. So it's pushing each other and pushing each other for the better, right? I think that's where we have to be okay with having sometimes those uncomfortable conversations. And I'm all about it.
I want to conclude with our name.
Yeah.
Gemini.
Yeah.
It's a great name. But there's a lot of meaning behind it. And as we have talked for the last half hour, I keep hearing partnership, partnership. And Gemini, as we know, is the constellation for
twins.
So double meeting.
Yep. Well, I'm going to give you credit to all of this because this was Kim's brainchild. I was actually sitting in a football stadium watching my twin boys play football when Kim literally had to call me with the idea. And yes, for me, the meeting of twins, Gemini, the reason I bought this business was for my family, for their future. And the other part of it that really meant something to me is that duality of us and our customers, that partnership. And if you look at our logo, you will see that our eyes are actually half circles. The reason is when you bring those two things together, you create a whole. And that's what we're all about. And in order for us to get through what's coming our way with AI and all of this stuff, we are going to need more togetherness than we ever have.
Thank you, Stephanie. I get the pleasure of talking to you every single day, countless times, but to open up our doors, and that was the whole point of Inside the Funnel, is open up our doors, bring our creativity, our technical expertise, and our heart and soul to the marketing community. So I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Historically, we've always kind of been a little under the radar, and I think it's time for us to come out of the shadows, and I think that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Thanks. This was fun.
Good. We'll do it again.
Love it.
Take care.
Bye-bye.